Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The night was still in Illyria, save for the gentle rustling of leaves in the cool evening breeze. In the heart of the city stood the great library, a massive stone structure that had withstood the passage of centuries. Its tall, arched windows glowed faintly, a warm invitation to those seeking knowledge. Inside, rows upon rows of ancient tomes lined the towering shelves, their secrets bound in leather and ink, safeguarded by the council of scholars. Knowledge in Illyria was a tightly controlled commodity, doled out only to those deemed worthy by the council. And magic, the most potent of all knowledge, was strictly forbidden to all but a select few. Samuel, a young scholar, moved quietly through the dimly lit corridors of the library. He was slender and pale, with a sharp, inquisitive gaze that had always set him apart from his peers. The other scholars respected the rules, dutifully copying texts and cataloging the volumes, content to follow the path laid out for them. But Samuel was different. His hunger for knowledge was insatiable, his curiosity unquenchable. Tonight, that curiosity had led him to a part of the library rarely visited, a forgotten corner where dust settled thickly on the shelves. As he ran his fingers along the spines of the old books, something caught his eye, a slight shift in the pattern of the wood paneling on the wall. Intrigued, he pressed his hand against it, and with a soft creak, a hidden compartment opened. Inside, resting on a velvet-lined shelf, was a book unlike any Samuel had ever seen. The cover was made of a dark, almost black leather, embossed with intricate patterns that seemed to shimmer in the faint light. There were no markings or title to indicate its contents. Samuel's heart raced as he reached out to touch it. The leather was cool and smooth under his fingers, and as he lifted it from its resting place, he felt a strange energy emanating from it, as if the book itself were alive. He knew, instinctively, that this was no ordinary book. It was ancient, powerful, and most likely forbidden. For a moment, Samuel hesitated. He knew the risks. The council's laws were clear: possession of forbidden knowledge was heresy, punishable by death. But his curiosity overpowered his fear. He couldn't walk away from something so extraordinary. Carefully, he tucked the book under his robe and hurried back to his quarters. In the privacy of his small chamber, Samuel lit a candle and placed the book on his desk. The flickering light danced across the cover, making the patterns shift and swirl. He took a deep breath and opened the book. The pages were old but well preserved, filled with strange symbols and unfamiliar script. Yet as he stared at them, the symbols began to make sense, arranging themselves into words he could understand. The book was a compendium of ancient magic, detailing spells and rituals that had long been erased from history. It spoke of powers that could reshape the world, of knowledge so potent it could bend reality to the will of the user. Samuel was captivated. He had always suspected that the council hid the most important knowledge from the people, and here was proof, a relic from a time when magic had been freely practiced, before it was outlawed and forgotten. As the hours passed, Samuel delved deeper into the book. He tried a simple spell, a minor incantation to light the room without fire. To his amazement, it worked. A small, glowing orb appeared above his hand, casting a soft light around the room. Samuel smiled, his mind racing with the possibilities. If such a simple spell could be this powerful, what else could he achieve with the knowledge in this book? But with each spell he learned, Samuel began to see things, visions of a dark past, of cities in ruins and skies blackened by smoke. He saw people consumed by their own power, their faces twisted in agony as the magic they had wielded turned against them. These visions disturbed him, but he pushed them aside, convincing himself that he was different, that he could control the power without succumbing to it. days turned into weeks, and Samuel became increasingly absorbed in the book. He spent hours alone in his chamber, experimenting with the spells, feeling the magic coursing through him like a drug. The power was intoxicating, and he craved more. But as he delved deeper into the book's secrets, the visions grew more intense, more terrifying. He saw entire civilizations wiped out by magic, saw the earth itself torn apart by forces beyond comprehension. The book's power was immense, but so too was its danger. Samuel knew he was treading a dangerous path, but he couldn't stop. The more he learned, the more he realized how much the council had kept from the people. They had hidden the truth, suppressed knowledge that could change the world. Samuel believed that with this power, he could overthrow the council, free the people from their control, and usher in a new era of enlightenment. But doubt began to creep in. What if the council was right? What if this knowledge was too dangerous for anyone to possess? Samuel's nights became sleepless, his mind a battleground between his thirst for knowledge and his fear of the consequences. The book's influence was growing, whispering to him in his dreams, urging him to continue, promising him power beyond his wildest dreams. Then the strange events began. Shadows seemed to move on their own, and Samuel heard whispers in the dead of night, voices that spoke in a language he couldn't understand. His room grew colder, and objects would occasionally move or fall without reason. At first, Samuel dismissed these occurrences as tricks of the mind, but soon they became too frequent, too real to ignore. One evening, as Samuel was poring over the book, a gust of wind blew through his chamber, extinguishing his candle. The room plunged into darkness, but the book remained illuminated, its pages glowing with a faint, eerie light. Samuel felt a chill run down his spine. He was not alone. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice trembling. A figure stepped out of the shadows, an old man with a long, white beard and piercing blue eyes. He wore the robes of a scholar, but they were tattered and faded, as if he had been away from the world for a long time. "Elias," the man said, his voice soft but firm. "My name is Elias." Samuel stared at the old man, trying to place him. The name was familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had heard it before. "I know what you have found," Elias continued, his gaze fixed on the book. "And I know the power it offers. I once stood where you are now, Samuel, holding that very book, feeling the same hunger for knowledge, the same temptation." Samuel's heart raced. "How do you know my name? And how do you know about the book?" Elias sighed, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. "I was a scholar, like you. Long ago, I found that book hidden in the library, just as you did. I studied it, learned its secrets, and was seduced by its power. But I also learned the truth of what it contains. That book is a relic from a time of great chaos, when magic ran wild and unchecked. The spells within it are not meant to be used, they are meant to be forgotten." Samuel felt a surge of defiance. "The council controls everything, Elias. They keep knowledge from the people, knowledge that could change the world. Why should we let them dictate what we can and cannot learn?" "Because some knowledge is too dangerous," Elias replied, his voice tinged with urgency. "That book contains magic that can destroy worlds, Samuel. I've seen what it can do. I've seen the visions, just as you have. And I know where it leads. If you continue down this path, you will not only doom yourself but everyone around you." Samuel's mind whirled. He wanted to believe Elias, but the pull of the book was too strong. "What if I can control it?" he asked, almost pleading. "What if I can use it for good?" Elias shook his head. "That is the same lie I told myself. But the magic in that book is not meant to be controlled. It consumes those who try, twists their minds, and turns them into something monstrous. The council knows this. That's why they hid the book away, why they forbid its use. Samuel looked down at the book, its pages still glowing softly in the darkness. He could feel its power, calling to him, promising him everything he had ever wanted. But he also felt the weight of Elias's words, the fear in his voice, and the terrible certainty that he was telling the truth. What do I do? Samuel whispered, his voice barely audible. Destroy it, Elias said, his tone firm. Burn it, bury it, whatever it takes to make sure no one else finds it. Only then can you be free of its curse. Samuel hesitated, the book's pull still strong. But as he looked into Elias's eyes, he saw the truth reflected there, a truth he had been trying to ignore. With a heavy heart, he nodded. I'll do it, he said, his voice shaking. I'll destroy the book. Elias placed a hand on Samuel's shoulder, a gesture of comfort. You're doing the right thing, Samuel. It's the only way to break free. The next morning, Samuel gathered the materials he needed to destroy the book, a large metal basin, oil, and matches. He carried them to the outskirts of the city, to a secluded spot where no one would see him. As he prepared the fire, his hands trembled, the weight of what he was about to do pressing down on him. He opened the book one last time, the pages flickering in the morning light. The symbols seemed to shift and writhe, as if aware of what was about to happen. For a moment, Samuel was tempted to change his mind, to keep the book and continue his studies. But the memory of Elias's warnings, the visions of destruction, and the strange events that had plagued him were too powerful to ignore. With a deep breath, Samuel poured the oil over the book and struck a match. The flame caught quickly, and within moments, the book was engulfed in flames. Samuel watched as the fire consumed the pages, the symbols twisting and writhing as they were reduced to ash. The last of the book burned away. Samuel felt a strange sensation, as if a great weight had been lifted from his shoulders. The air around him seemed clearer, the whispers and shadows gone. He was free, but the sense of relief was short-lived. As he turned to leave, a cold wind swept through the clearing, and he heard a voice, faint and distant, carried on the breeze. It is not over, Samuel. The knowledge can never be truly destroyed. It will find its way back. Samuel froze, his heart pounding. He turned back to the smoldering remains of the book, but there was nothing left, only ash and charred fragments. The voice was gone, but its warning lingered in his mind. He walked back to the city in silence, his thoughts heavy. He had done what Elias had asked, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the book's influence was not truly gone. As he re-entered the great library, the familiar smell of old books and ink greeted him, but it no longer brought comfort. He felt a sense of loss, a void where the book's presence had been. Samuel returned to his duties as a scholar, but he was changed. The curiosity that had once driven him was tempered by caution, the hunger for knowledge overshadowed by the fear of its consequences. He no longer sought out forbidden texts, no longer delved into the hidden corners of the library. Instead, he focused on the teachings of the council, on the knowledge that was safe, controlled, and sanctioned. But the memories of the book, of the power it offered, and the visions of destruction it had shown him, remained. They haunted his dreams, filling his nights with images of a world on the brink of collapse. He knew that the book was gone, but its legacy lingered, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. Years passed, and Samuel became a respected scholar in Eloria, known for his wisdom and caution. He taught others the importance of understanding the consequences of their actions, of thinking beyond the immediate gain and considering the broader impact of their choices. His words carried weight, and he became a quiet, influential figure in the city, but deep down, Samuel knew that the story of the forbidden book was not over. He had destroyed it, but the knowledge it contained could never be truly erased. It was a part of the world, woven into the fabric of reality, waiting to be discovered again, and one day, it was. A young scholar, eager and curious, stumbled upon a fragment of charred parchment hidden in the depths of the library. The symbols on it were faint, almost unreadable, but they stirred something in him, a deep, insatiable curiosity. He tucked the fragment away, planning to study it later, unaware of the path he was about to walk. The cycle was beginning anew. Samuel never knew of the discovery. By then, he had retired from the public eye, content to spend his remaining years in quiet contemplation. But the knowledge, the forbidden magic, lived on, waiting for the next mind to unlock its secrets, to once again face the terrible choice between power and destruction. In the end, the knowledge could never be destroyed, only forgotten and rediscovered, a curse that would haunt the world for as long as there were those willing to seek it out.